Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to dig into something I think a lot of people feel but don't talk about. This is for anyone out there who feels like you have this huge sense of purpose, this massive drive, but at the same time, you're fighting this constant, exhausting battle on the inside. It's a really interesting question, right? I mean, you've got this incredible fire to build things, to create, to make a difference, but you're also wrestling with your own ego, your own impulses and desires. It almost seems like the bigger the calling you feel, the more intense that internal war becomes. So, what's going on there? Well, this internal war is at the very heart of what our source material calls the purpose paradox. It's this deep, jarring disconnect between feeling like you have this powerful, world-changing calling and at the same time feeling like your inner world is just a chaotic mess. So on one side, you have this engine for innovation, this absolute hunger for progress. It's what fuels amazing companies, huge visions. But then, on the flip side, that exact same energy can feel like a massive spiritual liability. It pulls you toward pride, ambition, control, ego. It's just this constant draining fight. This quote just perfectly nails the frustration. You feel like you've been given this grand mission. You're supposed to build a cathedral, but when you look at yourself, your flaws, your desires, your weaknesses, you feel completely ill-equipped for the job. It literally feels like you've been handed a set of broken tools. So what do you do? If you're a builder, an entrepreneur, your first instinct is to try and fix it. You treat it like an engineering problem. You try to debug your own human nature. But it doesn't work. In fact, the harder you try to wrestle it into submission, the more broken you feel. The real turning point came from a letter from another young entrepreneur asking the exact same question. And that's when it clicked. There's no intellectual answer for this. You can't think your way out of it. And it's right there in that moment of surrender that everything changes. This led to a profound revelation, a totally new way of looking at the design of our internal world. This is where the old perspective just gets completely shattered and rebuilt from the ground up. So after years and years of this struggle, the author finally brings this one desperate question to God. Is this fire inside me, this intense lust for more success, more recognition, more control? Is it a fundamental flaw, Is it a bug in my system that disqualifies me from doing anything great? And the answer that came back was just stunning. Absolutely not. It's not a flaw. That intensity you feel isn't some curse. It is the measurement of your engine. The more horsepower your mission requires, the more powerful your internal engine of desire is going to be. This totally flips the script on a word like lust. We're not just talking about some shameful impulse. No. In its rawest form, it's described as pure creative energy. It's powerful, explosive fuel. Think about it like rocket fuel. You can't get a rocket to the moon with a small, tidy engine. You need a violent, explosive force to break gravity. The mistake was being ashamed of the rocket fuel instead of learning how to properly channel and direct it. Okay, so if you have this high-performance engine, you need training to handle it, right? And that's exactly what this internal struggle is. It's your flight simulator. First, an engine this powerful can't be steered by your ego alone. It forces you to rely on a pilot. Second, that constant internal friction, it creates humility. It wears down all the rough edges of your pride. And finally, that push and pull is designed to polish your soul, to make you a more suitable vessel for your purpose. And this is where it gets really counterintuitive. Your struggle, that feeling of weakness that you're so ashamed of, it's not what's holding you back. It's the very thing that qualifies you. It's the built-in safety mechanism that prevents a person with a powerful engine from becoming a monster of pride, from believing that they are the source of their own power. So, if the struggle is actually the training and the desire is the fuel, what's the new game plan? Well, it's a whole new framework based on one key idea: redirecting the fire, not trying to extinguish it. See, the goal was never to become some passionless, lukewarm person. The goal isn't to eliminate this powerful energy. It's to redirect it, to take that fire and consecrate it, which just means pointing it toward a higher, more meaningful purpose. So what does that look like in practice? Well, here are a few examples. That raw desire for success, that can be redirected into a passion for excellence that honors God. That craving for recognition can be transformed into a desire to reflect His glory. And that need for control can become a passion for good and faithful stewardship. It's the same energy. You're just aiming it at a totally different target. This table just lays out the entire mindset shift perfectly. You're moving from the old way of thinking to the new one. So instead of seeing your struggle as a flaw, you see it as your training. Instead of suppression, your goal is redirection. Instead of feeling shame over your weakness, you start to find purpose in it. And maybe most importantly, you stop being afraid of your own engine and start learning how to steward it. To really bring this all home, the source gives us one last, incredibly powerful metaphor that completely changes how we see this whole internal process. And it's this idea that your heart is a forge. For years, the author saw his heart as a battlefield, a place of constant, destructive conflict and war. The revelation was to see it differently. It's not a battlefield, it is a forge. A place of immense heat and pressure, yeah, for sure, but all of it is for the purpose of constructive creation. So if your heart is a forge, what are the different parts? Well, the heat is the intensity of your struggle. And the raw material? That's everything you used to be ashamed of. Your flaws, your impatience, your desires. The master craftsman uses that fire to purify the raw material and hammer you into shape, creating a tool that's perfectly fit for its unique mission. The struggle isn't a mistake. It's the whole point of the process. And this really points to the true enemy in all this. It's not your desire. It's shame. Shame is the tool that makes you afraid of the very engine you were given to fulfill your purpose. Now, this new perspective isn't a license to just indulge every desire, not at all. It's a call to replace that fear and shame with a sober sense of responsibility. And this leaves us with one last, really provocative thought. A good man might trust in his own strength, his own discipline to suppress his flaws. But his man understands his complete inability to steer this powerful engine alone. He relies entirely on the pilot. So the war, then, isn't about ending the struggle. It's about changing your relationship with the struggle and transforming it from a source of shame into the very arena of your transformation.